we getting started, huh? Y'all know I'm always busy, always got something going on. Thanks for making y'all way over here to my YouTube channel and subscribe, and make sure y'all subscribe, all right? So today I want to talk to you guys about something that a lot of people have been hitting me up about. I actually just took a course myself on this, and this is how to boost your credit score. Crazy, because in my younger days, I tore my credit out the frame very, very young. Started off having some decent credit, and I just, I ended up buying a bunch of houses. By the time I was 21, I owned 7 rental properties. Well, 6 rental properties plus the house that I lived in. Then the recession hit, or what we kind of thought was the recession, in 2008. A lot of people couldn't pay their bills and different things of that nature, and all 7 of these houses was foreclosed on. Pretty much just thought that my credit was just in such a terrible position that I was never gonna be able to get it fixed. I was gonna have to wait 7 years until it was wiped clean. At one point I was gonna file for bankruptcy, and I just kind of always said, all right, well, as long as I got money, as long as I got cash, I'll be okay. But that's not true, because even when you have money, you'll end up running through a lot of it if you can't utilize credit, and so it's best to use someone else's money instead of having to use your own, all right? I think we probably finally live in a day and age where most of us really, really understand how important it is to have good credit, all right? Let's talk about it. Number one, what is a credit score? All right, so our credit score is based upon many different things. As most of you guys probably know, we've got the 3 credit bureaus, which is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You've got different companies, like for example, Mercedes-Benz, they will only pull your TransUnion credit report. They don't care about anybody else. So you've got various companies, and it's kind of important to find out what credit bureau each company is looking for, because you have 3 different credit scores, okay? People aren't gonna just combine them. They're not gonna take the average of them. They're gonna go to the particular bureau that they trust and go through that, all right? So you wanna make sure that your credit score is anywhere from a 700 to a 850. It can be as low as, I think they go as low as like a 400. So pretty much your credit score can range from anywhere between 400 and 850, all right? Anything above a 800 is considered excellent credit. Anything above a 720 is considered good credit. Anything a 680 or above is considered fair credit, and you really don't want to be anywhere below a 680, all right? So you're probably asking yourself, all right, Snoop, shit, I'm at a 575. What I got to do to get to that 680? All right, well, there's quite a few things that you can do. Like I said, I just paid $5,000 to take a course on this. I ain't giving all of y'all the deets now. I can't give it all to you, but I'm gonna give you a few different things, all right? And I got my notes from my class, so y'all know it's real. Number one, you want to make sure that you're working with a reputable source to check your credit, okay? A reputable source is not Credit Karma. Reputable source is Identity IQ. A reputable source is Experian. They also have they're one of the credit bureaus, but they have a system where you can go in and check your credit score, okay? You want to make sure that you're monitoring your credit score every single month. Some people do it once a week. I called into Experian today, and they told me that during this particular season, the winter season, the holiday season, is when it's most prone for fraud. They said it is best to do it every day, if not every other day. Once you get in there and you can see your credit report, you're gonna look at what it has as your names and your addresses, all right? If, let's say like for me, they had Michelle Dillard on there. I'm not Michelle Dillard. It's probably several Michelle Dillards. I don't want my credit report merged with Michelle Dillard. I'm Michelle Dillard, you know what I mean? So you'll wanna go in there and delete that, okay? Any old addresses that you're no longer associated with, any addresses that they have on there that you've never lived at, you want to make sure that you go in there, all right? Now, there's also something called secondary reporting agencies. So these are reporting agencies that are going to report background check information. They report a lot of different things. So LexisNexis, CoreLogic, CoreLogic's actually report convictions and evictions. You can actually go in there and freeze those. So if you're going to go apply for an apartment and you've got somebody savvy enough to go in there and lock those reports, they'll never see it. So this is how a lot of these people are like, you know, I don't care what's on your record. I can get you an apartment. I can get you in a penthouse, whatever the case may be. This is exactly how they do it. So make sure you're doing your research on all of these secondary reporting companies, okay? Now, there's several different ways that people use to try to dispute things off of your credit report, okay? So you've got dispute letters that you can send in. You can send them in yourself. You can actually go online and look up an example of dispute letters that people have used that have worked for them, okay? You change the verbiage a little bit because you want to make sure it's sounding like coming from a real person and not somebody on the computer, but you change the verbiage up a little bit, send it in, okay? And that's generally going to be your basic dispute letter, okay? Now, a lot of people, what they do is they backdate these dispute letters so that when they send them in, they can also follow up with what we call a complaint with the CFPB. The CFPB, they basically monitor all of this credit stuff, okay? So once you send in your dispute letter, you can do a complaint with the CFPB and say, hey, yeah, I've sent it in. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't heard anything, which really it ain't been 2 weeks, but it's been 2 weeks. I haven't heard anything. They need to take this stuff off of my credit report now because it is fraudulent. And guess what they'll do? They will go ahead and take that stuff off of your report. With these letters, there's a couple of different things you can do. You can change the font, you can change the colors, different little things that you can do so that you can make sure that these letters stand out, okay? What's a good credit report? A good credit report has at least 10 accounts, 10 positive open accounts, okay, where you do not use more than 10% of your utilization. What does that mean? Okay, so utilization is, let's for example, if I've got a credit card where the maximum spend on that credit card is $5,000, okay, I don't ever want to charge up more than $500 on that credit card, okay? Now, let's say you just have to. Let's say you're in a bind and you have to. Well, you want to make sure that you know your closing date. On all of my credit cards, I've got a note in my notes and it's got every single one of their closing dates, because guess what? I'm gonna make sure they pay down to zero by the time that closing date comes along, okay? So when you do get these credit cards, you want to make sure that you know what's what, okay? You can also call into the credit card company and say, hey, I want my closing date to be such and such. That way all of your dates are on the same day, you know what I mean? Or you've got some in the middle of the month, some in the beginning of the month, etc. All right, now with inquiries, you don't want to have a lot of inquiries, so you want to have 10 positive accounts with less than $10,000 utilization, and you don't want to have more than about 4 or 5 inquiries, okay? Now, inquiries automatically fall off on their own every 2 years, but let's say you've got quite a bit of inquiries on your report, which means that you've actually had, somebody has done a hard pull on your credit, okay? That means they've checked your credit because you are trying to get a loan, you're trying to get a credit card, you're trying to get more money, okay? Now, of course, the more money that you're trying to get, that means you're trying to use more credit, okay? And so if you've got a lot of inquiries, that's telling whoever you're trying to get credit from again that, hey, I do this all the time, all right? So that's one of the reasons why you do not want to have a lot of inquiries. Now, like I said, the inquiries fall off every 2 years, but let's say you're looking at your credit report and you're like, damn, Snoop, I got 10 inquiries on here. Well, there's actually a 24-hour method for removing inquiries. All you have to do is, number one, go in there and look at the inquiries that are not related to open or closed accounts, all right? So let's say, for example, you've applied for a car loan. Well, a lot of times when you go to a dealership and you apply for a car loan, they're going to send it out to as many people as they can trying to get you approved. So you may have 6 inquiries off of trying to get this one car. All right. So now you're not going to be able to get the inquiry removed. Let's say you went to Mercedes and you now driving a Mercedes and it was financed through Mercedes-Benz Financial. Okay, you can't get that inquiry removed, not from Mercedes-Benz Financial if that's what your loan is through. But all of those other auto companies, you can get those removed. So what you do, you call into that credit bureau, you ask to speak to the fraud department. Make sure you ask to speak to the fraud department, okay? Ask to speak to the fraud department and you say, hey, I've noticed some unauthorized inquiries on my credit report. I don't know if they were maybe done by somebody else, but this is fraudulent, okay? And it is illegal to have any unauthorized inquiries on my report. And so then they're gonna say, I literally just did this today with mine because I'm about to buy a house. They're gonna say, okay, which ones are fraudulent? And then you're gonna go down the list of them, and then they'll go ahead, they're gonna say, okay, well, it takes 24 to 48 hours or 48 to 72 hours. And within 24 to 48 hours, they are automatically going to be removed. Inquiries are, it really blew me away how simple and easy this was. It's best to call at 8 o'clock in the morning. Guys, keep in mind, this is just the credit bureau. This is like calling into AT&T and T-Mobile. When you call in, who's answering the phone? Normally somebody foreign or somebody young. They could care less. They're literally clicking delete and getting off the phone with you. I promise you, try it tomorrow. All right. Late payments. So late payment removal. The first thing that you can do is send a letter of forgiveness to the company that you were late with. Number one, you want to make sure that you've done your freezes on the secondary agencies. But try sending in a letter to the company. If that doesn't work, then you go back through your basic dispute process, which is a 609 letter. And then filing your complaint with the CFPB. All right, so most of this stuff can be removed with either a basic dispute letter or a 609 letter, or doing your verification method, okay? Last but not least, a lot of people use identity theft and FTC to get things removed. However, that's really last resort, okay? Because once you do that, you really can't do anything else, and it also puts a freeze, on your credit report. There's also, websites, where you can get on, like the FTC website. You can get on there, familiarize yourself with that website, because you can get on there and do complaints and different things of that nature. But one of the basic things that people do is with those basic dispute letters and those 609 letters, they make sure that they backdate those, because so that then they can go ahead and file a complaint with the CFPB. All right, and like I was saying, the CFPB, you can get more information on them by going to consumerfinance.gov. So those are just some of the basic ways that you can dispute things on your credit report. First of all, just actually call the credit bureau, get familiar with them. All right, now, once you get to the point that, you've gotten a lot of this stuff off of your credit report, you may see that it's still not as high as you want it to be. All right. And the reason why that may be is because you may need to add some trade lines, to your account. Trade lines are basically, and one kind of easy way to add trade lines to your account, if you've got a parent or somebody like that has good credit, they can add you on their credit cards. They don't have to give you a copy of the credit card. You don't have to have a copy of it come to you in the mail, but they can just add you so that trade line shows up on your credit. So let's say they've got a credit card, that has a limit of $50,000 that they rarely use. Well, that's helping boost their credit up, and it can help boost yours up as well. A lot of people are at the point where they're purchasing trade lines and things of that nature, but this is a way that you can actually get it free and clear by just using some of the people around you. All right, y'all. So if this was helpful for you, please make sure that you comment. I will be starting my credit repair business the first of the year. So in addition to doing business consultations, because most of the people I do business consultations with, they end up needing their credit cleaned as well. So right now I'm just kind of working with family members and friends and things of that nature. But I'll be kicking it off the first of the year. So y'all look forward to that. But if this was helpful, if you need any small tips, make sure you guys comment below, and I'll be looking and answering only to my subscribers though. Have a good one, y'all. Snoop.